Hang on. Hey, this is Shane Ripley, your host with Mountain Crypto. I'd like to welcome all who have tuned into the channel today. Having some technical difficulties with my internet, AT&T, worst service ever up here in East County. The technicians are great, but the service itself is just pathetic. You can see it's a beautiful day up here in East County. We got the beautiful, mighty Cuyamaca Mountains behind me with a new giant white antenna on the top. Looks hideous at the end of the day. You can't really see it from this camera shot, but anyway, today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin boom, or Bitcoin and cryptocurrency moon that everybody's been waiting for. And it looks like the market is really poised for this to happen. I wanted to do a screen share, but it looks like for the YouTube viewers, but it looks like YouTube has changed the format and I have not been able to find it. So I'm gonna have to fool with that later. I have limited time. So first I want to give a shout out to the my thumbnail on YouTube. If you do happen to be able to get it, you'll see there is a market update, and this is from Crypto Potato. You can get on their newsletter. You see at the bottom there, it says Crypto Potato. They gather news and do some reports, and they have some services and stuff. They send me emails out all the time. A lot of times they're just news that I already heard, but I did like this little report kind of that they put here. You can see what's happening around the world here. September 17th is the date they have on here. But it just goes to show there's so much going on in the Bitcoin world right now. So we're going to talk about that and talk about if that's going to make a big boom and an explosion like a lot of folks have predicted. First, I want to thank my subscribers. We're getting close to 1,700 views for a little tiny channel up here in the East County. I think that's pretty good. We're pretty proud of that. Thank you for smashing the like button and subscribing. We appreciate your support. It helps us grow the channel. We've got our description on the YouTube with a couple referral links, one for Coinbase and one for, I think the Ledger, maybe it's on there. I can't remember if I put it on there. But anyway, we're not financial advisors. We don't give financial advice of any kind. We're just talking about our opinions and what we see going on in the market, and hope that we can share some of that information with you in a somewhat entertaining fashion, and for sure a family-friendly fashion. We don't drop the A, B, C, D, E, F bombs. We don't do that. We just don't do that. So you might appreciate that if you're listening on the podcast with the kids in the car, or if you're just playing a YouTube video or whatnot in the background during your break at work time. You don't have to worry about us. We keep it clean here. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Oh my gosh. Bitcoin hash rates doubled. You've got here from FundStart, you got crypto custody service for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for XPR, for Bitcoin Cash, for Litecoin. We've got some regulatory approval going on. BitGo is offering all kinds of services. We'll talk about that. Morgan Stanley is going to give clients Bitcoin trading options. We'll talk about that. In Canada, you got Bitcoin funds approved for Canadians to retire for retirement funds and tax-free savings accounts. NASDAQ gives another crypto step, adding tools to predict the crypto prices. We've got Binance CEO saying the crypto market is going to grow 1,000% or more. We got the Bitcoin Whale Watch USD, 380 million leaves the Bitcoin wallet for cold storage for 4 days. So there's all kinds of stuff going on here. People moving money, preparing. The cold storage is for long storage. There's some long-term investors here. So that's what that's all about. Just a lot going on. Now, the market hasn't really reflected that. Let's see if I can get this without ruining this. I don't know if I can. I hope I don't ruin my my recorder, but let me just take a quick look at the market here. I looked at it this earlier. Yeah, it's still about the same, $6,360 for a Bitcoin. Some of the altcoins look okay, Neo and Waves, and I'm sure there's more. This is just my little thing. Okay, it looks like my recording's still working, so that's good. So a lot of stuff is poised for the market to go ballistic. Hasn't happened yet, but things are never as they seem in the Bitcoin world, right? It never does exactly what you think. Here's another article. I got this one off of the News BTC, and they send out emails to me, and then I look at the articles. But in newsbtc.com, they've got an article here called the Crypto Week in Review. Institutions ready to commit to Bitcoin. This is actually big enough. I don't even think I need my glasses. So much going on. We talked about Bitcoin, or BitGo rather, receiving U.S. regulatory approval to launch a custody solution. A custody solution is someone that can hold the Bitcoin and guarantee that it's going to be there. If you go and look at some of my videos, you'll see I talk about Coinbase a lot. Coinbase actually is registered with the SCE. They are a custody. They insure Bitcoin up to 250,000. I'm not sure how that all works, but just like the bank, there's an insurance on your actual deposit. So that gives a good layer of security and opens it up to receiving some of this regulatory. Now, there's a whole list of people who hate regulatory because it's the whole Bitcoin crowd and the whole cryptocurrency crowd started off of, deregulation, decentralized, have nothing to do with the government. Regulation actually makes it centralized. So there's pros and cons to this. If you're already in the market, or you're going to get in the market pretty soon, then most of us see this as at least more money coming into the market as a positive thing for our investments, and for the adaption of Bitcoin. So right now it's a little tricky to use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency if you're not familiar with that term, but it will be the day when you just whip out your card and slide it just like a debit card. It'll be just as easy, and it's almost there now. In fact, with a lot of these services like BitGo, they have a wonderful service that allows a lot of platforms to accept Bitcoin rather rapidly. And Coinbase has a wonderful platform for businesses to accept cryptocurrency very rapidly, deposit in their account, and exchange it to fiat if they want, regular U.S. currency or whatever currency they use in their country. So it's happening. It's happening very quickly. Bitcoin is actually an American cryptocurrency infrastructure based out of South Dakota. And so they are going to be doing this approved for a custody solution. That's pretty good. They sat down with CNBC's Fast Money panel. They discussed the promise and some of the things that are going to cause Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to continually grow. Morgan Stanley to offer Bitcoin swaps. Wow, this is big. Morgan Stanley is one of the leading firms on Wall Street. They are setting up the infrastructure that will allow them to be able to back Bitcoin derivatives. Derivatives are very speculative, but this will be a lot of special interests. A lot of investors and such will be interested in this. This will put more money into it. The only thing is that Morgan Stanley doesn't directly trade Bitcoin, but it is a new vehicle that will be tied to the futures market instead of the crypto assets. So this product will allow, and I'm reading from the article here, allow interested investors to experience a new full performance of Bitcoin, both long and short, while not having to hold the BTC themselves. So they're going to need a custody agent to hold the Bitcoin, all right, that they do buy. Citigroup, it's going to launch digital asset receipt. This is kind of interesting. The digital asset receipt, also the acronym is DAR, is going to resemble an American depository receipt. So it's a lesser known, but yet well-established investment in a vehicle that allows American investors to invest in like foreign assets. So they'll be treating cryptocurrencies kind of like a foreign asset that don't exchange on U.S. exchanges. This is going to be held by a custodian. So again, the custodian is a key part of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies being widely accepted by mainstream adoption here in the US, where it is going to be big and huge. They're going to provide an extra layer of trust between the verification for individuals that invest the capital into this new investment vehicle. So Morgan Stanley swap product, who own the receipt, will receive the full exposure of Bitcoin's often drastic price fluctuations without actually having to worry of holding the digital asset. So now Coinbase, Polychain, and others create lobbying groups. These are legitimate lobbying groups put together by some of the top established financial people and cryptocurrency people. They'll be Washington-based. They're going to appeal to the regulators based right there in the capital city. It says this leading group of crypto investors are going to be focused on providing a united narrative to U.S. regulators to bid and facilitate and foster innovation and adoption of the blockchain technologies and some form of crypto assets. So here's what they say. Our objective is to create a pro-innovative environment for the industry, meaning the growing global demand for accessible, transparent, and democratic financial and technical systems. So this is big too, because when you have other regulating entities, sometimes you would call them like trade establishments. You know, if you're in a trade, you have a certain establishment that kind of looks after what the rules should be. Like if you're in electrical trade, you have the uniform code, you have the organization of engineers, electrical engineers that help write and update that uniform code, which the government in turn says, these are what we go by. They look to the experts to go by it. So that's the hope on that. And then with the goal of making it safer, informing and educating the public, and advocating for policy which will enable innovation, not stifle it, but help it to grow. So the Winklevoss twins, maybe you haven't heard of the Winklevoss twins. They are huge in Bitcoin. They're very wealthy and successful. They're pushing something called Gemini Dollar. This is what's called a stable coin. There's other stable coins. There's Tether. There's True USD. There might be others. And what these coins are designed to do is when you're trading in and out of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, the market goes up, the market goes down. Well, when it's going up, it's great. You're in the cryptocurrency, you're making money. But when it starts to drop, a lot of people want to get out. And they don't want to go back into their fiat because maybe the way of the tax system or whatever, just the convenience, they go back into one of these stable coins, which generally maintains a consistent value based on like a US dollar. And I'm sure there's probably others based on the, you know, like the EU and things like that. So this Gemini Dollar is going to be backed, according to the Winklevoss twins, it will be backed by a single US dollar, just like Tether or True. Now, Tether's never been audited by a third party. So they're saying that they're going to be open to auditing and they're going to have full transparency. So that's very interesting. The US dollars will be deposited in a State Street, a US bank, which will allow people to receive Gemini dollars. The recently established Gemini dollars already received approval from the New York Department of Financial Services, making it the first stablecoin to receive regulatory go-ahead from a financial-focused government body. So, yeah, that's a good thing that you could do that you could trade in and out without having to worry about a crazy, you know, someone taking over your dollars or saying that, oh, you know, we don't really have them. Because if it's not really backed dollar per dollar, then you can break the bank, right? If everybody tries to pull out at the same time, it will break the bank. And of course, there'll be a fee, you know, associated with it. It'll probably go like a penny or two above a dollar and below a dollar. That's how the stable coins typically work. And that's how they make their fees to, you know, support their company and stay in business. Should your company accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency payments? Let's talk about that in a minute. Now, let me back right up here. Security versus utility tokens. So, you see all these tokens, you see all this good news that's out there. A lot of money is going to go into the market right now. A lot of people are projecting that it's going to go 100x, 1000x in the next couple years, or maybe sooner. We're just hoping to see it reach its all-time high. Hopefully this year. We'll see what happens. That would be nice. And the all-time high was about 20,000. So we'll see if that happens. The cycles of Bitcoin seems like if you keep your money in there every 18 months and you're able to buy at the lows, you will make a minimum of 200% historically every 18 months. So whether that'll happen again remains to be seen, but historically it's happened a few times now. So it's something to look at. Security versus utility tokens. Utility tokens, if you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, you might just hear about Bitcoin. You think, oh, it's funny money, but it's not. It's truly money, and it's based on what people believe it's worth, and it's not controlled by the government. And the blockchain of Bitcoin has never been hacked. So a lot of the things you're hearing about Bitcoin is not true. Now, that doesn't mean all cryptocurrencies. Some cryptocurrencies have had these issues, and it's certainly something to do your research on. But there's a lot of utility tokens out there, and you hear about them. One of them is called, and let me just talk about who wrote this article here. This is Toju Omtor Yuwa, and this was written on September 18th. And where did I pull this up at? I'm not seeing exactly where I pulled it up from because I didn't print it on here. But anyway, you can look it up. His name is Toju, and his last name is Ometoruwa, and it was updated on September 16th, 2018 at 11:09. So that's the most information I give you. And the title of it is Security versus Utility Tokens, the Complete Guide. So Toju here has updated his article. I've read this before. It's pretty well written. Keeps it kind of basic enough that you don't have to be a rocket science in cryptocurrency to get the general idea. What are utility tokens? It's the most popular form of tokens. A lot of startups are using this means to raise money. And when you talk about startups, if you're brand new to crypto, that's called an ICO, initial coin offering. And in the US, we're not technically allowed to buy those, but there is some stuff that we're going to talk about where it will be more easier and legal for Americans to get involved in some level of ICO without being an accredited investor. And we'll talk about that shortly. But these utility tokens typically create their token and they put them on these exchanges. When they have ICOs, they have these initial coin offerings and these incentives. If you buy one, you'll get 20% for free, or they have all these different things to try and get some momentum and some excitement about their coin. Okay, now they do it because they have a specific ecosystem. They are using this token to typically provide you with a service within their ecosystem. So it's not just a coin to go buy a cup of coffee or anything like that, although some say they'll do that too. But a true utility token would be like Filecoin. So Filecoin, if you use your token, you can use it to buy storage space to store your files in their electronic storage areas, and they pay people for providing storage area. So now they've created a service. They've created a way of using these coins back and forth. Now, if you provide services, you're going to receive these coins. If you're buying services, you're going to be buying these coins. If you provide the services and you obtain the coins, you can hold them, and maybe they'll go up, maybe they won't, or you can use them to transfer them to fiat and be able to, expand your business or pay for your electrical or your computers or whatnot like that. So it has an ecosystem is the point. Tokens create a unique incentive to enable people to perform specific actions within the ecosystem because they know they will be compensated. So the most common type of platform that's used for this is through the Ethereum coin, which is ERC20. That is the platform that many of these tokens are used. Now, security tokens. What are security tokens? Well, these are a little bit more recent. They are what is thought to be the key to mainstream adoption. They're tokenized digital and non-digital assets, which makes them useful for almost any industry. But they are going to be something that the SCE is looking at, something that they would want to regulate, something that would need to be, in this country, something that would need to be approved by the SCE. So physical digital asset like real estate, artwork, or ETFs are some of the items that could include a security token. Investors will be able to exchange these tokens for money and via smart contract. Smart contract is just built into the coin. Security token holders can easily trade their tokens for assets, use them as collateral for a loan, even fractionalize them and store them in different digital wallets. So that's kind of cool. Just a basic understanding. Utility tokens, the advantages. We'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the utility tokens. They are the advantages. They offer incentives, right? Within a blockchain ecosystem, you can get paid for providing. Usually it's going to be storage. It could be content, like Steemit and different cryptocurrencies like that. So you can do more research if you're interested in it. There's cryptocurrencies like Switch, which can construct their own ecosystem, produce their own money, and use the money to incentivize people for renewable energy. So that's one way that it works. They can be traded for Bitcoin or Ethereum, exchanged for fiat currency, and that's the advantage. Now, some of the disadvantage of utility tokens is because they can be produced so easily. A lot of companies have had good intentions, launched ICO, and produced nothing. Other scammers have totally diabolically planned on producing nothing, create a lot of hype, raise a lot of money, and disappear off the face of the earth, right? They don't do it. So these tokens, you have to be very careful, okay? There's danger out there. What are the advantages of security tokens? Well, one advantage is there's a lot less likelihood for scams within these security tokens. They're more trustworthy because the companies have to go through a regulatory hurdle before they can access the public. Dividends are possible, like stocks, security tokens, and security token investors can receive quarterly dividends or dividends paid out. They can access multiple asset classes. They can token product, fund structures, and produces value. There's liquidity, so they're very easy to buy and sell. They do seem to be a little bit more stable. That's very relative rough term. There's access to a global network of investors. The disadvantages of security tokens, the legal requirements, right? They've got to jump through a lot of hoops for the SCE, the Howey test, right? So they have to meet all of the following criteria. It has to be an investment of money. There has to be an expectation of profits for the investor. The money invested has to be invested in a common enterprise, and any profit that comes forth from the efforts of the promoter of the third party. Okay. So to be classified as a security, you got to meet all four. Registration isn't easy. Security tokens may only be available to accredited investors, which means you got to have $1 million net worth in the bank. It's got to be provable, auditable, or 200,000 in annual income. And I think you had to do that like 2 out of the last 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, security tokens represent, the article says, trillions with a T of dollars worth of real assets that will be needed timely and accurately data sourcing in order to determine their condition and adjust their valuation as necessary. The good part I glean out of that is that is going to be huge, and it's happening now. The approval is there now. So all this stuff's going in Bitcoin. You're wondering if you should invest. I'm not an investing guru, but if you have some extra money, instead of going to Vegas, I would say, do some research, maybe invest in top coins, buy when they're low, sell when they're high. That's just kind of a real, rule of thumb guideline. There's a lot of good information out there about investing. I've got a couple of videos in here about investing if you want to look at them, but do your research. It is coming. It will be easier to use as time moves on, but I talk about it because we're at the baby steps. Okay. Bitcoin has been born, and cryptocurrencies have been born, and they are babies, and not everybody knows about it, right? They haven't entered the world yet, but they are getting ready to they're taking their first steps into the world, and mainstream adoption is just around the corner. So, should your company accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency payments? This is a great article. I have a video on business and Bitcoin, business and cryptocurrency, and I do a presentation on that at some length. This is just kind of an update. Talks about using cryptocurrency, and I'm not going to go into it real long, but if you have a business, especially if it's an internet business, I would say this is something you want to look into and do some research. There are a couple companies that will help you process cryptocurrency. Coinbase is one. You want to go to Coinbase. They have a commercial account there where you can accept cryptocurrency. You can sell it very quickly. There is a strategy to this, and they do have a good guide to help you do that. But this is a good article if you want to look it up. It was written by Kate Harrison. It's called "Should Your Company Accept Bitcoin and Other Cryptocurrency Payments?" And I don't know if I have any other information on this. I didn't do very good at printing this. She can be reached. Let me grab where my glasses go. Put them here somewhere. Oh, I dropped them. Excuse me. All right, let's see here. She can be reached at she's a branding and marketing consultant specializing in nonprofits and sustainable businesses. I'm not recommending her here. I'm just giving you the contact information for the article. It's KATELHARRISON.com. That's her website. But it's a really good article. Talks about should your company accept cryptocurrency, talks about the benefits. People use PayPal. People take foreign exchange money. This might be really good if you are going to be doing sales of services and products across the country, because you don't have to worry about the exchanges. You don't have to worry about all that. It's very instantaneous. The primary risks are, if you're familiar with cryptocurrency, there is safety nets that you can put into place. My video right before this, I've got a whole section on safety, which is really good. So you have to be careful. Cryptocurrency is very volatile, so you need to, if you need that cash, you need to exchange it very quickly and have a good service provider that will do that. By the way, Square just got a patent a couple weeks ago on an app or a device or something to be able to accept cryptocurrency. So that's up and coming. They'll be accepting it if you are, utilizing a Square device to accept payments. That's something to consider. All right. And then there was a third thing. Regulatory and tax can seem confusing, but a good CPA will be able to do this. Mark Kohler is a wonderful tax man. You can sign up for his emails under, I think it's called KOA Lawyers, and it's Mark Kohler. He's a tax CPA and also a legal attorney. So you get two attorneys in one. He's written several books. He's up on the cryptocurrency taxes, as well as my current CPA that I use here in California. If you want a referral, I can give you his name. offline. He doesn't advertise like Mark Kohler does quite as broadly. So I don't want to just throw his name out there without asking him. But basically, keep good track of what you're doing. Use exchanges that track what you're buying and selling. Keep your bank receipts, and you'll be good. It's just like stock market investing, in and out of stock market. Just track it well. Keep copies of all that paperwork, and you'll be fine. The IRS will be real happy with you when you report all that, which you have to do this year. So be sure and give them everything. All right. How could your business accept cryptocurrency? Digital wallet. You could use a POS, which is a point of sale machine. I talked about that. There's different services that offer that. You've got BitPay and Coinbase. Those are the two most, the safest and the largest and the most well-known and the best reputation for doing that. So with that, folks, again, there's so much going on in the cryptocurrency market right now. And with making it accessible, that literally trillions of dollars or hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars more. There's only like between 200 and 300 million dollars in Bitcoin right now. Apple, one company, has more, market capital than that in its company. So this is a huge, huge opportunity, but it is risky. So do your research. Keep watching these videos. I am doing a live presentation this Friday for San Diego County. It is going to be held at the Alpine Library. Call them and get the information or look it up online. It'll be about an hour to 2 hour presentation with question and answer. Very basic on Bitcoin, a little bit about the blockchain, a little bit on buy and hold at its most rudimentary start, for a beginner. And then also, what else? Just the very basics, and then a question and answer. So if you want to show up to that, there's room for maybe, I don't know, it's a fairly good sized room, maybe hold 40 or 60 people, something like that, while there's room. With that, can't think of anything else. It's a beautiful day here again in San Diego County, so I thought I'd bring it out here for the presentation so you all can enjoy that. And just be safe. I'm your host, Shane Ripley with Mountain Crypto, and we're going to start ending these streams and these recordings, so bear with me. Please subscribe and sign up, and look at our description on the YouTube video as well. Thank you.